Games Workshop really wants me to start a brand new Age of Sigmar army. The chapter-approved mission deck Leviathan has been recalled, and Cool Mini or Not has a brand new board game coming to Kickstarter soon. All this and more in this week's Hobby News. I'm Angela, you're watching Hobby Night. Now let's get to it. Let's go ahead and start today's episode by taking a look at some cool new miniatures from Games Workshop. Oh! Those look really cool.
Where's that black powder, Squire? These guns won't reload themselves!
Yeah, they won't reload themselves! Look how majestic they are! I absolutely love the wrought iron designs on top of the shields. Although I do question, mildly, how much they're actually protecting the people firing the guns behind them. But regardless, these miniatures look really, really cool. Let's see if we can take a look at them in a little bit more detail. Yes. Okay, so we have some brand new miniatures from the Age of Sigmar line coming to the Cities of Sigmar faction, which I have absolutely been loving. These designs are no exception. They are absolutely gorgeous, and these are the Free Guild Fusiliers, which I just think look amazing, although I really do question how much those grates at the top, as much as I love how they crown everything in these really gorgeous Gothic style wrought iron designs, I don't know how effective those are going to be about actually protecting the men and women who are firing the cannons and guns that are mounted to them. But regardless of that, I'm thrilled with how these things look. They're gorgeous. I continue to love the detail going into them, and I definitely will probably be picking up this army because I really do think Games Workshop is just everything that they show me, I want it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm gonna buy your starter box. I'm gonna get the starter box for the new City of Sigmar products. I'll do it. And they also showed us some alternate designs on these, which I really actually enjoy, because one of the things that was really cool about the old world models, in my personal opinion, is how much you could make them your own and not necessarily stick to the individual houses that were established that, were in Altdorf and everything. So I really like them showing all these different unique designs and everything. And the one question that I do have about this whole thing though, is this figure that is represented by the resupply run rule. Is he coming in this box set, and can I have this poor peasant soul and or squire who is just carrying around very heavy things? Am I going to be able to paint him, or will I not be able to paint him? That is my only question about this set. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump into the video real quick to remind you to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications so that you never miss any of the hobby content that we make here on the channel. Games Workshop is having a little bit of a rough time with the launch of 10th edition. Not necessarily in the ways that I think everybody might have expected, considering I feel like Leviathan has still been steadily available for people to be able to pick up, but they have had a lot of erratas already and even some printing errors that have called for a recall on one of their products. Specifically, these chapter-approved mission deck Leviathan. If you happen to pick up this deck and you were looking through the cards, you might have noticed there's a few mistakes on some of the backings of the cards. And because of this issue, Games Workshop has decided that they're recalling the product. They've reached out to the retailers asking them to recycle any ones that they have left. Retailers are getting refunded for all of the ones that they ordered, and they are being encouraged to refund their customers who may have picked up the deck from them because of the misprint. Now, what is specifically wrong with the cards? Well, specifically, it is a problem with the secondary mission defender deck, because you might notice they have these wonderful cards. They have this backing. As you can see, this is what the backing of all of the secondary mission defenders are supposed to be. However, one of them, which is labeled as a secondary mission defender, has this symbol on the back, which is not correct. That is the symbol for the Gambit defender, which is not the same card. And so it kind of marks this one as you're gonna definitely know that you're getting secure no man's land if you happen to buy this deck. But this isn't the only actual error that's in here, although I do think it is the most prevalent one that is causing the most issue. But there is actually another misprint that happened, because one each of the primary mission cards and one each of the secondary, or the mission rules also has a misprint on them. They're just swapped One has the label for the primary and the other one has the label for the mission rules, and they just happen to swap it. And it's only the one card, so something must have just happened in the printing where it wasn't mirrored properly, and I think they just got the wrong backings. It's an unfortunate thing to have happen, but at least I think Games Workshop is handling it pretty well, considering they are refunding all the retailers, as I said, for all the copies that they may have purchased. And ideally, all of those retailers will then refund all of the customers who might come back in and return the product because it does have some errors. I do, however, think that if you were using card sleeves on these and you didn't end up seeing that symbol necessarily, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, although Games Workshop does have plans to reprint the deck and sell that at a later date with the correct backings. Games Workshop has another live stream scheduled for July 15th, which is a Saturday, starting at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this live stream is going to be covering the results of the Battle of Oghram, which if you had participated in the event and had gotten the Leviathan box set, there would be a unique code in there for you to submit the results of your battles. And now we're going to find out who won. Was it the Tyranids or was it the Space Marines? Now, I kind of expect I know who might have won this, just having played a couple of games of Combat Patrol in 10th edition already with the Chaos Cultist. I got a lucky 1-game win, and then the next 2 times, it was a pretty easy win for the Space Marines, I will admit. Now, I am running a brand new army that I've never played before, but I do still feel like Space Marines are a smidge overpowered. So I am kind of expecting them to win in this result, but I'll be really happy if in fact it is the Tyranids that end up being the winners. Now, on top of doing this live stream covering the results of this battle, there's also going to be a special preview for all new miniatures on the side who won, which makes me think that we're just going to end up seeing a bunch of new Space Marines perhaps, but again, I'm kind of hoping we'll get lucky and we'll see a lot of new Tyranid models maybe eating some Marines. That would be fun. Instead, because I don't know, there's so many Space Marine models and they get so many new ones so often that I just want to continue to see that the Tyranid line expands and grows and maybe give us some even more larger bugs. I think that would be really, really fun. Now, normally I would be doing a watch-along live stream to cover this live stream. However, I am going to be going to Open Sauce this weekend, which overlaps with this event, and I do not want to get up early, watch this, and then have to go to a convention over the next 2 days. I'll just be way too tired, so don't worry, I will still be covering what happens on the live stream. You're just gonna have to wait until next week's news segment. Next up, I want to go ahead and take a look at some new action figures coming to us from JOYTOY, and as you can see, they are the mighty Terminator. Now, this first video showcases the melee ones, although it does have some range ones, but then there's another video where we can focus on some of the range guys, and I am absolutely loving the look of these Terminator action figures. You guys know me, okay? I love JOYTOY's figures. I am a partner with them. They have sponsored the channel a couple of times, so obviously I am a little bit biased. However, I really do think that they put out really great high quality action figures, and I love the look of these cool Terminators. The melee ones, especially with all their storm shields and the thunder hammers, are just stunning looking. Now, let me go ahead and get this paused and we'll pop over to look at the other one, because this focuses a little bit on your ranged combat for those of you that prefer your Terminators running those kinds of guns. So let's take a look, and I'll continue gushing about how cool I think they are. And I also think this is also really smart of JOYTOY, if I'm perfectly honest, because right now, in my opinion, Terminators are a very hot ticket in 10th edition Warhammer 40k. I don't know how many of you guys have actually got a chance to play the game. I mentioned it earlier that I had actually gotten to play Chaos Cultist a few times. I won the first game, I think by beginner's luck, and then the next 2 games, I totally got my butt kicked, and it was all because of not only his characters, but just the sheer strength and durability of the Terminator. So releasing Terminators now, excellent call on their part, if I'm honest. The one thing I will say, though, is, hey JOYTOY, would it be cool if, like, maybe instead of this being a blue fist with this particular shade of blue armor, could we possibly try making this red and going with a little bit of a darker blue for the sweet glory of the Crimson Fists, the Sons of Dorn? Because that would make me really happy, because one of my original army was Crimson Fists, and I actually did run a squad consistently of like 5 dudes of Terminators in that army no matter what. So it would be really cool. Yeah, JOYTOY, if you could do that, that'd be swell. I'd love it. Thanks. Cool Mini or Not is at it again. They have a brand new board game coming to Kickstarter quite soon, so let's go ahead and watch the trailer for it and see what we think. I am Mordred, rightful king of Britannia, lord of Camelot, and I have made a grievous error. I sought a spell to bring me allies against Arthur, to hasten the arrival of the Fae. God, I love the art. But it twisted and broke the land. Britannia and the Fae realm are merging while Father is nowhere to be found. The world spins into chaos and madness, and it is spreading. Mordred. Art by Adrian Smith. For those of you that are maybe unfamiliar with who Adrian Smith is, he has worked on this small game, you know, this company, Games Workshop, on Warhammer 40k and also Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah, he is one of the artists that is very famous of having done stuff for Games Workshop in the past. And basically, I think since 2017, he's been working for Cool Mini or Not as their lead artist. And he's actually one of my favorite board game artists out there. And you can kind of see why, because he has some amazing art, and they create some amazing miniatures based off of his art, and all of it is just stunning. If you're wondering what board games maybe he's worked on, specifically from Cool Mini or Not, he's worked on the Chronicles of Hate, he's worked on Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and Ankh. So if you enjoy those games, you're probably enjoying his art if you happen to like the art in those games. Now, beyond that, this is looking like a very cool area control game. And I, for one, am all about that. I don't play that many area control games, but it's totally up there in the wargaming vibe, and the gorgeous miniatures in this already have me sold. I don't even care how good the game is. I really just want to get my hands on some of the really amazing miniatures that we saw earlier in the trailer. Now, this is a twist on the Arthurian legend, which I am actually not super familiar with, but that doesn't... I don't think that's really going to stop me from potentially enjoying this game, because honestly, it looks like they've added a bunch of lore and interesting things in there, and plus they're putting a twist on it, so it's not expected to be the exact Arthurian legend you may know. Now, this game is going to be coming out on July 12th on Kickstarter, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are interested in this and you want to get your hands on all of these glorious miniatures, July 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it'll go live on Kickstarter. I don't normally back things on Kickstarter, and I most likely will not be backing this on Kickstarter either, because it's just not really my jam. But Cool Mini or Not's games, much in the same way that I've talked about Awaken Realms games always coming to retailer shelves down the line, do almost always end up on retailer shelves as well. The only exception to that I can actually think of off the top of my head, and it was one that Adrian Smith worked on, is the Chronicles of Hate. But that's because it's called the Chronicles of Hate, and it's not exactly the nicest of games in regards to what you are doing in it mechanically. So I can kind of understand that. But otherwise, all of them tend to end up just at your friendly local game stores, which is where I'll probably be picking this one up, because not only do I really like the miniatures, I really like the art, and it looks like a fun area control game. Will you be grabbing this yourself? Let me know down in the comments. Last but not least, I want to go ahead and take a look at the latest trailer for Baldur's Gate 3. I'm a huge fan of Larian Studios, so I'm really looking forward to this game coming out. And despite it's been in beta for quite a while and totally playable, like the first chapter, I've not touched it at all because I want it to be fresh. That's really cool. Ooh. Oh my god, it's so cute! Ooh. This game is supposed to be huge. I'm really looking forward to it. so the music is making me so nostalgic for Divinity Original Sin 2. We've got our romances. Romance all sorts of people. This squirrel, watch this squirrel. He nutted. Now I'm gonna pause this trailer very briefly because they don't go into it in this trailer. But Larian actually had a big drop of like, here's all the things that are coming. We have some big announcements. And one of those announcements we're actually gonna be talking about once we've finished this trailer. But I gotta talk about that scene because it makes me laugh so hard. Because in that scene, what it comes from is during the preview where they were showing off a bunch of cool stuff, including the romances that can happen in the game. Well, the audience decides to have the vampire dude romance the druid, and he inevitably turns into a bear, and they get it on. And that's why that squirrel nutted. And I just think that is freaking hilarious, and I love Larian's sense of humor. I absolutely adore this, and I cannot wait for this game. Okay, let's finish this trailer.
You are the chosen one.
We are the chosen one. I don't know if that person's actually talking to us. But yes, this game is currently pre-orderable, and its release window is actually just around the corner. In fact, for PC users, if you want to get your hands and start playing this game in full, you can start doing so on August 3rd. I'm so hyped for this. They actually moved the release window up, which originally was supposed to be coming out on September 6th, but September 6th is when Starfield is coming out. Now, for those of you that are waiting to get your hands on this game through the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, well, your release window is still September 6th. You might be going, wait a minute, if they're trying to avoid Starfield's release window with the PC version, why aren't they doing the same for the PlayStation version? Well, that's actually because Bethesda's game Starfield is actually not going to be on the PlayStation, so it's not really going to be conflicting against that game. Like, it's not going to have to compete against it specifically for those users, where it would be if it was still going to be coming out on PC at that same time, because Starfield will be releasing on Xbox and PC on September 6th. So I think Larian made a really good change here, and I love the fact that instead of pushing the game back and making PC gamers have to wait, they're instead just moving their release window forward and allowing us to get our hands on it a little bit early. Now, for those of you that are wondering, Angela, will you be playing this game with the Chaos Cultist on the channel? The answer is absolutely. We are definitely going to be trying this game on the channel. We've been looking forward to it. We've been holding off on playing for a really long time, specifically because we just want this game to be out, and then we figured, why not let's do it as a Let's Play, so you can be expecting some debauchery from us in Baldur's Gate 3 sometime around the release window, which is August 3rd. All right, that has been it for this week in hobby news. Do let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comments below. And before I head out, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for making it so content like this can continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we would not be doing this, so thank you very, very much. I have been Angela, and I hope you have a wonderful hobby night.